Okay, welcome everyone to TVOSJ, the voice of San Joaquin, right here off the Miracle Mile in Stockton, California. Welcome to Latinos Like to Spanglish, Sabor Latino, La Voz, Noticias y Algo Más. And now, guess what? A new show on the rise, which I'm proud to introduce. Of course, the show's called On the Deep End with Leo Martinez. How are you, Leo?
Hey, Betsy. I'm glad to be on your show. I'm doing well. Seems like these days is nonstop. My life is just nonstop, always going, always moving.
You're not kidding me. So much is going
No.
on. It is also kind of a scary time, I think.
Yeah, it is.
But it is what it is. And, I want you to share with the community what you plan on bringing us with your show. Some of your ideas, some of the topics that you may want to cover during your shows. And does it look like it's going to be Fridays, 6 to 7 from now on?
Yeah, it seems that's the plan for now, and I hope to keep that plan. I'm usually very dedicated to any kind of routines that I develop, so I'm going to say yes, Friday, 6 to 7.
Yay! Yay! I hope I got you committed completely. Well, I
Yeah, no,
got you. I got you on the airwaves, so you can't get out of it now.
I'm stuck now.
Well, anyway, so let us know exactly some of the topics that you'd like to cover during your shows. Kind of give us a little idea, if you want. Give us a little history of your background, who you are, where you're from. Are you born and raised Stockton? Are you Stocktonian all the way?
Right.
I got tons of questions here. So go
Yeah.
ahead. You got the mic.
So my name is Leonel Martinez, but a lot of people in Stockton, a lot of my friends, my family members just call me Leo because a lot of people don't really pronounce my name the right way. They always want to put an I in Leonel. So I was born in Mexico, Mexicali, Baja California.
Okay.
And I migrated to the United States when I was about 5 years old. I came to Hayward, lived there for about a year, and then I was raised in Oakland up until the age of 15 when we decided to move to Stockton, California, where I spent a lot of my time just studying music and getting to know other artists around here, and basically just most of my teenage years and my early adulthood. And then by the age of 21, I moved out to Monterey Bay, got my bachelor's degree. Then when I finished that, I moved out to San Francisco and worked on some more academic degrees there. Once I finished there, I decided to come back to Stockton about 4 years ago. So I'm what you would call a boomerang, where you leave your hometown, or you leave the town that you were raised, and you go out and do what you have to do, and you decide to come back in order to put the work that you've done outside of your hometown into the community. And now, I'm working with Fathers and Families of San Joaquin. I'm the communications director for that agency, and very proud to be back in Stockton and putting all that work that I spent doing outside of Stockton back into the community to help the people who need it the most. Because I don't think San Francisco really needs me, but I know that Stockton, there's always room for boomerangs like me,
Boomerang. So, what was it like to live in the Bay? I know that's
area,
different from Stockton.
Well, in Oakland, I was raised around in the 90s in Oakland, and I was raised in East 14th, 94th Avenue. So it's stigmatized as like a very violent area, an area where there's a high crime, high gang activity. I don't like to use the term gang, but a lot of that kind of activity there. And growing up there, I didn't really see it as a dangerous area for myself, because that's really all I knew growing up in Oakland. A lot of the people that the news were sort of labeling as bad criminals or bad influences on our communities were actually people just trying to survive out of economical and political neglect,
Right.
and they had to survive to put food on the table for their families. I'll tell you something. These so-called gangsters that the media likes to call them were never ever rude to me and my family. They were actually quite the opposite. They always protected us and looked out for us and made sure that they weren't disturbing us. Now I don't know what that area looks like now, but that's just what my experience was growing up then. You know,
And what year was that, Leo?
it was probably I want to say 90. I want to say
In the 90s?
94 all the way to 2000.
90s to 2000. Okay.
Yeah, and so you know, and I grew up in a time where people, back when lowriders were really, I mean, even then, like, it was a very prominent era for lowriders to be exposed. And I grew up with the whole lowrider magazine,
Yes.
that whole culture, lowrider
I
bikes,
think we all did.
and
Yes.
all of that. And so, and the thing about Oakland is that in East Oakland, it's a very different vibe than any other area in Oakland. I mean, you can say that for any other area in Oakland, but East Oakland, growing up there, was predominantly Black and Latino, and so it was definitely a different vibe than living in the Oakland Hills or even living in West Oakland at the time. I think during that period, West Oakland was sort of burnt down. There was like a fire accident during that period of time, so it's not what it is today.
So what do you think of the car clubs today compared to what they were like back then? Because, of course, a lot of people didn't want car clubs around because they always thought, oh, here comes trouble. But nowadays, look what's been happening with the car clubs. And not only that, but solo riders, individuals that invest in their vehicles, individuals that take pride in what they do with their vehicle.
I mean, my cousin was a lowrider mechanic. He was
Wow.
a lowrider collector. So I remember spending a lot of time watching him fix, old dilapidated cars and renewing them into these
You mean the
beautiful,
bombs?
like bombs,
Las
and polished
bombas.
explorers, all of that. Yeah, he had a Cougar. I remember from the 70s.
Yes.
I remember him having a bomb as well.
Wow.
And he would. And what I've noticed is that I don't know. It's very different than now, right? Because a lot of what I saw growing up with these lowrider collectors were that they were very dedicated. They had actually a relationship with these cars, and,
Yes.
it transcended just the shallowness of it all, right? Because a lot of people see them and it's like, oh, they're very pretty, and yeah, they're pretty, but when you understand like the background and the process of building these things, like building these automobiles from like nothing to something
Right.
that's spectacular, you don't realize the heart that's gone into it, the dedication to it, the detail. It's almost like they become one with their car.
Yes, they personalize it. They customize it to their liking. It's them.
Right. Yeah,
it's their heart.
Right, and
That's so cool.
and it oozes their cultura. Their cultura is what I got most out of looking at those cars. It was like the cultural aspect of it. It's almost like it's almost like they were turning an American car with something that has more sabor, as you could say.
Yes.
You could see the culture ooze out of the cars once they were.
Yes. And
It
another
was
thing,
always
they took
it
them
never
off the
ended.
streets, right? I mean, they were
Right.
dedicated
I mean,
to doing something so positive.
But I think the biggest thing about those kinds of projects, though, is the relationship that you build with others working on them.
Yes.
Because I saw a lot of that, from family members, friends. People. When my cousin was building those, to me, it was always like sort of like a gathering. As he was working on them, he was telling me stories. He was, sort of. It was like an area.
Automotive One.
Vulnerable things.
I'm thinking Automotive One because he's teaching anybody and everybody that is around him how to build
Right.
these vehicles, what to do. If there's a part that's missing, do you mold it? Do you make it yourself? Where do you go to have this part made that doesn't exist anymore? I mean, it's a
Right,
challenge.
exactly.
It is a challenge.
But if you want to take it deeper, Betty, it's like the car is a personification of the rebuilding of identity of that person coming to America or
You're
having
so
multiple
right.
generations prior living in America, right?
You
So
are
like,
so right.
so it's almost like the cars that they build a lot of times are these automobiles of themselves that they can't maybe not articulate with words, but show you, right? And in a way, like sort of become like a personification of what it means to build your identity in America, being a non-white or a coming from a background of like immigrants or immigrant
Yes.
families. And so when you're in a country where your identity is sort of challenged and
Mm.
suppressed, you go and
Mm.
create something that it
Mhm.
liberates you in a way
Yes, it
through
does.
that automobile, And so that's what I mean by oozing culture out of the automobile. It's like you're really oozing out the identity and bringing out the identity that a lot of times when you stop working on the cars, you have to go back to suppressing.
Yes.
And so the
Yes.
car's way is a ride to liberation.
That
So
is that's such a beautiful way to look at it. And like I said, you
yeah,
hit it right on. You're so right
yeah,
on that. And then not
definitely.
only that, but so many have started with just with nothing in their pockets, you
Right,
know?
right. I remember, and I remember my cousin used to spend a lot of money on this, and he would tell me, "Don't tell my wife, don't tell my,"
That was a secret.
and so when the wife would find out, he would try to justify it, like, "Oh no, it's for the family, it's for the family." So I have a lot of memories like that as well, But I think what a lot of people confuse lowriders with is gang activity and gang association, and that's not true at all. It's not.
No,
It's not. It's absolutely not true.
no.
It doesn't come out of that culture. Like I said, it comes out of this culture of sort of creating your own identity out
Yes.
of all these other factors that suppress your cultura or your identity. Being raised in maybe like in an area that's, like I said, economically, how should I say, neglected or politically neglected or even culturally neglected.
Yes.
So, like I said, it's almost like an automobile to self-liberating that identity
Yes.
or constructing a new identity out of the suppression.
Yes.
Um, I personally never had a lowrider, but I rode in them a lot. And there were strict rules that you have to follow when you
You
got
had to
inside of
abide
one.
by. Tell me about some of
You
those
can't
rules.
wear
I'm
this.
curious. Tell me. Tell me. You can't eat in the
Take your
car.
shoes off. Sometimes I'd have to take my shoes off. Take your shoes off. Don't bring food in here. Don't bring your drink in here. Don't bring makeup in here. Hot Cheetos, forget about it. So it's almost ritualistic. The whole thing, like it's more than just a car ride. It wasn't just like take me to the liquor store or
It's an
take me to church.
adventure.
It was almost like an environment to reflect and talk about your stories and sometimes just to be in solitude, just to be in that quietness, just reflecting on your own life,
Yes.
so
Yes. I mean, I recall one time I had a 1972 Cutlass Supreme. And it
but
was the most beautiful Cutlass Supreme, I thought, right? White on
right,
brown. It was just gorgeous. It was my first little lowrider, and I thought, this is so cool. This was around the time that we were part of the in barrio warfare movement. And
right,
I remember that we were all going to head out from Delta College. We were all going to head out to LA and attend one of these in barrio warfare conferences. And so here we go. It's about 12 cars, and we're all caravanning, heading on out there, right? And here I am. I have my beautiful Cutlass Supreme. I called it my Tula because that was my pride and joy. My car, it was all white, beautifully painted. It had rims, and it had a little donut steering wheel. I still
you
remember
have to
today,
have
little
it.
donut steering wheel, and it was white, so it matched the car.
Right,
The car stood out. It was beautiful. As we're heading out on the freeway, we're entering Los Angeles. And all of a sudden, there's this highway patrol, and he's following us, right? and I see him, and all of a sudden he's trying to get in behind my car. But since we're caravanning, right, everybody's kind of tight, close to each other.
Right.
Finally, he forces himself in between the cars and pulls me over. And I'm thinking, oh shoot, okay, what did I do now, right? And
Right.
I'm pulling over to the right. But when I'm pulling over to the right, the whole caravan pulls over to the right. All the cars pull over to the right with me. Well, yeah, we're traveling together. So somebody pulls over, guess what? Everyone's going to follow. So the
Right.
officer got pissed. He got mad. He did not like that because it wasn't just
No.
him and I. Now it was the whole,
Well, the
the whole
officer was probably
caravan.
mad because he probably didn't have one. I knew they probably wanted one too. So, you
Yeah,
know,
you know, I got
how
to
can you
ask.
how can you not want one? I mean, they're
How can
so
you not want?
spectacular,
Yes,
beautiful, beautiful
exactly,
cars.
exactly.
And they're timeless. That's the thing about it. They age very well. It seems like
Yes,
they don't. It's like they're timeless. Even if you saw one today, you'd be like, wow, like
yes.
it's just you never it never gets old.
No, it doesn't. It's
Um,
your pride and joy. My very first car was a 1949 Hudson, and that was a bomb. That was beautiful. Had the original motor in there and everything.
wow.
And it still drove. I mean, you can operate the original motor. I thought that was so cool. I gave it to my brother. But that Cutlass Supreme, yeah, I remember that. And it's memories. You know, people always, enjoy car talk. They have, especially the guys, of course, because they all love cars. But now when I go to the car shows, it's beautiful to see because some of those cars are just drop jaw gorgeous. The work, the money
Right.
that's put into it, it's all about them. It's their persona, and
Right.
they're all mingling, talking, connecting with each other, car talk, and just sharing memories.
Right.
And it's beautiful to see that, and that's why I've always liked car shows. And if all goes well, August 8th, we're going to have our sixth annual reunion. It's a fundraiser for the radio station, and it's going to be at Weber Point. And
Oh
I'm
yeah.
already working on
I,
it. It's going to be awesome.
so are you planning on getting a new lowrider, Betty?
A lowrider, well, I have a bug that I'd like to really fix up. I'm working on it, but it's difficult right now. But
Right.
I'd
Right.
like to. That's the plan. So,
But that's part of the journey as well, right?
yes.
Like it takes time to make these, and that's why they're so
Exactly.
valued.
Little sacrifices here and there.
Right.
I know it's
Exactly.
expensive to maintain sometimes, and especially if you want to customize something to your liking, it's something completely different. And yeah, you have to pay for it. And, more and more, I see more Mexicanos, Chicanos, Latinos, whatever. They're all into building vehicles, either tinting the windows, the stereo system, everything, the rims, the tires. They're all owned by Latinos. They're Latino-owned
Right.
businesses, is what I'm saying, and that's beautiful to see. And they all have these beautiful vehicles, and it shows. They're happy. They're a little bit. They show a little bit of their pride in there. I mean, that's okay. I mean, why not? That's something that they
Right.
accomplished and done. But the
Yeah.
fact is that they have a business that they built and are owners to those businesses, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I was gonna say with like every collection that one has, there's always two components of it. Sacrifice and dedication.
Yes,
And I think for any kind of collection that anyone has, it's going to require that, regardless, right? If you have a car, or if you're collecting vinyl, if you're collecting guitars, there's always
right.
almost the same sort of elements involved in any
Oh,
kind of collection that one goes into, right? I mean, I can speak
what
for myself
what is your
because I just recently
collection?
got into vinyl. Vinyl, I love vinyl.
You love
I
vinyl.
love vinyl.
Let's talk about
I
vinyl.
love vinyl. Well, vinyl. I don't know. I mean, where do I start?
I know.
I think with vinyl, the thing is that I think for me it was that, in the times that we're living in, everything that's time and communication is like compressed into these like really instant, digitized like things, right? Whether it be like texting or whether it be like emailing replaces mail, letter writing, texting replaces phone calls, And CDs obviously replace tapes and replace
8-track
vinyls,
tapes.
right? Right, exactly, and even like the
And
8 tracks,
cassettes.
right? Like those.
Yes, 8 tracks.
So I think for me, it was like living in these kinds of times where everything is digitized, everything is so fast. I need something pure in my life, something that's honest. And when you're listening to vinyl, you're listening to the actual analog sound of any recording that's being put into those vinyls, right? So it's not like the same thing as like a CD where the sound waves are replicated and digitized, and you can usually tell when you listen to the drums.
Yes.
The drums, for example, a lot of the frequencies that makes up a snare drum, for example, doesn't fully get captured when it's transferred onto a CD as opposed to an analog vinyl. So I think for me, philosophically, is just trying to return to this purity that's so like overlooked in a world where everything's so digitized and fast and compressed, and so for me, it's just trying to go back to that purity wherever that is in my life. And for me, since I love music so much, it's going back to that place of like, well, I want to know exactly how that was recorded, the purity of it. I don't want a replica of it. I want the exact sound of that snare or that exact sound of that bass, and I don't want any fillers. I don't want any replicas. I want the original sound. And,
yes.
And I think that's for a lot of, and I also write letters. I love writing letters. I write letters to prisoners. I have 5 prisoners that I write letters to.
Wow, I didn't know that.
On routine. Because I think it's an art that needs to be practiced. It has to be practiced.
Yes.
And that's returning back to that purity, right?
Yes.
There's just an intimacy that occurs when you're writing letters, right? You can tell that somebody put energy into writing the way that they write. Sometimes you can even smell the essence of what they've put into the paper, right? And it's so unpredictable, and it teaches you to be patient. You have to wait for that to arrive in your mailbox. You can't just get it instantly, like an email.
Right.
And the font is so unique to the person's handwriting.
Yes,
it's not
definitely.
like, I'm going to click. I'm not going to click Times New Roman on this letter. Right?
That cursive. They're trying to do away. They did away the cursive in class. Is that sad or what?
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think I was probably one of the last generations to actually be taught how to do cursive, the calligraphy.
Yes,
a lot of people forget
I do that today.
I
I actually learned at Delta College. I took a class there, and I just took off with it from there on. And it helped my penmanship, and that's, I have taught calligraphy to help children correct their penmanship, and it did work. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It used to be seen as like a rites of passage back then. Like if you could do cursive, like wow, like you were like head of the class, or you like you seemed a lot smarter then. But what people were really doing was, when you do cursive, you're actually again practicing patience and practicing discipline and practicing identity. When you're doing, because everybody did their cursive differently. But the fact that it was within the family of cursive meant that you took the time and dedication to learn it.
Yes.
And so once you learned it, it became personalized, right? And so I think with calligraphy, we tend to think of it as just language and symbols, but it's really just identity that you're creating, a type of language and communication that's personalized to your own dedication and patience.
Yes, you're right. I created my own handwriting from there on. You create your own handwriting. It's like, okay, this is something that just automatically happened after you do so much calligraphy and so much practicing. I love those letters, the Gothic writing. Oh, God, I love it.
Oh, yeah, I love Gothic writing, yeah. Like the Old English style.
Old English, the best.
Yeah.
You notice my sign, I have a sign in here. It's Old English. It's Gothic. It's gorgeous. La Voz de San Joaquin. And I had an artist, one of our artists here in this area, Panagua, Daniel, who designed it for me one day at one of the women's marches that we ended up at in front of the Civic Auditorium. I think that's Martin Luther King Park. And beautiful. He was right there just doing signs for individuals, anybody that wanted to sign. And he just whipped it right up. And I said, how about a sign for an interview? And he did it. And he came in and he showed his work. And wow, what a
And
talent.
you still have that sign, I assume,
It's
right?
up every time that we interview and the cameras are going. It takes a picture of the door, and that's where I have it displayed because it's just so gorgeous. Just beautiful, beautiful piece of art. Well, that's what I used to do, and I still can today. Just I have a little bit of arthritis in the hands now, so it makes it a little more difficult, a little more challenging. But that doesn't keep me
Right.
from doing calligraphy. I still continue. Not as often because, of course, more of my time and dedication is to the radio. I help build it along with all the
Right.
variety of programs that we have and DJs that we have. And now to add your show on the deep
Mm-hmm.
end, which
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to say, welcome to. Welcome, Leo. This is now your
Thank you
new
so
home.
much. Thank you.
This is something that I'm looking forward to every Friday between the hours of
Hmm.
6 and 7, and that's your show on the deep end. So tell us, what else you have planned? What are some of the future topics? Just an
Well, I
idea.
think I remember we sat down together, what, about a week or 2 weeks ago, and
Hmm.
we discussed all kinds of things.
Yes.
I think the term "on the deep end." There's multiple ways to decipher that title, and I think I picked it because, like, just how we discussed the lowrider, just how we
Yes.
discussed vinyl, just how we
Hmm.
discussed cursive. It was more than just a topic, right? What
Yes.
we were really discussing is returning to this identity in a world where everything is lost in terms of identity. We're so used to getting everything so quick and fast that we lose our identity. We lose something that's personalized, and
Yes.
we lose that dedication because we're always moving so fast.
We're always
So
rushing
I
through everything, right?
Right. So
That's
with that
where.
being said, I think
Hmm.
on the deep end is exactly what we just did. We went deeper than just the actual topic of lowriders, and it's more than just that. There's different components of
Yes.
why folks, get dedicated to what they do. And so
Hmm.
with on the deep end, I wanted to discuss various, various topics that go just deeper than just the surface, right? Why things happen, why things occur, why
Hmm.
things function the way that they do. And what does that tell us about us as
Hmm.
individuals, and what does that tell us about our society as a whole? And so that could be anything from, like, discussing, you know, um, multi-identity, migration. That could be musicology. That could be philosophy. That could be astronomy. It could be any topic, but going deeper than just the surface of it, right? And so I think it's also, I think there's a need for that for some folks to just sometimes understand things where they're rooted in, because if you don't know your roots, you have nothing deep to offer.
Right.
And so when you go on the deep end, it's like you're really going into the heart and the meat of things that, for me, really matter more so than the end product. And so when we're going on the deep end, it's not for shallow discussion. It's really to just dive deep to learn something more about ourselves
Right. I
rather
like that.
than the
Yeah.
surface level.
Love it.
You
Love
know,
it.
so it's like the best metaphor that I can use is like a diamond, right? So a lot of people think a diamond has a value. Well, I want to discuss how it became to have value. And what
Right.
exactly is the diamond made up of that
Hmm.
we give it value? Is the value a product of the capitalism that we've imbued into it? And how are diamonds looked at in different cultures, right? Because
Right.
in Africa, if you've heard of blood diamonds, they
Yes.
don't put the same value as Westerners do on a piece of rock,
Hmm.
right? And so going deeper in that and just sort of breaking apart, like, the components that give it that value, right? So that's sort of mental streamline of breaking things down. So I guess almost like a deconstructionalist approach to topics rather than just discussing them on a surface level, right? So
Right.
it's almost like I'm an anthropologist of topics, digging
Right.
to see, like, what is the core of this topic, and why do we look at it and treat it the way that we do nowadays? And that could be anything. Like I said, astrology, Mayan culture,
Ah,
um,
that's
the
mind blowing.
aceros. I mean, anything. But I mean, I'll have a more obviously I'll have a more concise schedule on the topics that we will be discussing week to week. And I have a couple. I think I already have it laid out. So I think we're going to have fun discussing a lot of these topics. And um, my service to everybody that listens to my show is to, hopefully have them get something out of it about themselves when
Yes.
we're discussing these things, and make people think about things on a deeper level,
Yes.
because the things that we look on the surface aren't always what they seem when you look at the bottom of it, or when you look at the core of it.
Look at
So
it thoroughly. I hear you, and I'm looking forward to all your shows. Now, keep in mind, too, when you concentrate on one of your shows, you're more than welcome to have a guest come in as well.
oh, definitely, we're definitely going to have guests.
Yes, don't rule that out because you can, you know a lot of people. And so whenever you feel like it, don't feel like you cannot. I mean, every now and then, yeah, we'll do an interview over the phone. For whatever
Hmm.
reasons you can't come in, no problem. But when you
Right,
find a guest, you want to bring him in. It's not only audio, but it's also video. I mean, it's visual.
right,
So that's a plus. So we're just not radio, we're also TV.
right. Exactly, exactly.
So you could actually show, let's say you bring in an artist and he wants to show his work, we'll be able to
Hmm.
display all their artwork, whatever may be, even pictures of their work.
Definitely. I mean, when I was, like I said, when I came to Stockton,
Hmm.
I got involved with a lot of musicians and poets and artists. And coming back to Stockton now, I realize how that landscape has changed because of the next generation coming in and doing those things. So I'm starting to now network with a lot of the younger artists and younger musicians that are coming in. I'm very curious to see where that landscape is now in terms of like, what are we doing as a city to provide these artists with not only the resources but the space for them to express themselves,
Right.
and it was very different when I first came to Stockton. When I first came to Stockton, there was venues everywhere, and it seems like now it's much more. It's less, and so I'd like to explore that as well. Like, what are some of the conditions that occur that takes away those spaces from artists, right? And what can we do as a community to create those spaces
To
for
bring them
artists
back.
to
Yeah.
to build that community that I had when I first moved here.
Okay.
So
Well, one of the events, and I showed you two pieces of artwork that our local artists did, and this was at the reunion. And that was, I call it paint on the spot. What comes to your
right,
heart, you just paint right there and you finish it, and then we auction it off. And
right,
these two beautiful young ladies got down with the most beautiful Aztec picture of the Aztec man holding his lady on top of the mountain. Remember that? And was it Joaquin? Was it Isacuatl? I'm not sure his name, but that's something that I got to look into, get it correct. But that's something that we started last year, and that's where a lot of the artists will be able to come in and express themselves that way and show what they can do right there during the event. And I think this is going to open up doors for anybody that would like to be part of it and express
right,
themselves that way. It's called plein air as well. But they actually started it for the first time last year. The year before last was poetry. We had a lot of the high school students get down with their poetry, which I thought was wonderful. Everyone won. They
right.
were all
Yeah, of
that
course, you have
that
to.
great that everyone won some kind of a prize for entering. So this is opening up doors for anybody in the arts, and so definitely maybe we could do something there for your show too on the deep
Definitely.
end. It would be a great way to introduce you to the community. By then, you're going to have all sorts of shows. So whatever you
Right.
want to concentrate on, you can actually bring out there and show it off, and let the community get in touch with you. and get to know you on a personal basis.
Definitely. And yeah, I'm excited because I have a lot of planning. I have a lot of plans that I want to get out, and I think that through this radio show, I'll be able to share a lot of those projects that I'm coming up with that don't necessarily involve me, but it involves the work that I'm doing with others.
With the community.
Like for example, the mural portrait series, the grant that I just got from Stockton Arts Commission.
Awesome! Congratulations, you got it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have that now. Yeah, and
awesome.
We're gonna be working with 6 local artists to create portraits and a mural series that we're gonna be sponsoring a family who has lost a loved one, and we're gonna honor them through a portrait, and then at the end it's going to be a collaborative community mural that we're going to be having at one of our healing gardens through the agency that I work at.
Yes.
At the Brandon Harrison Memorial Garden. And,
that touches the heart.
I'm just really excited about that because I think that those sort of things is what really unites community, and it really gives us a different perspective on what we should be doing as a community. A lot of the times I feel that we lose that because we're so involved with what's going on in the world and what's going on in our own personal lives that art in this manner can be liberating.
Yes.
And art in this way can be healing. So,
yes, exactly. And our event is going to bring back a lot of the cultura. Every single event has been concentrated on todo de cultura and the arts, the food, the music. The cars, even the car show, everything. Music especially, and so that also is a platform for the youth to get up and sing. If they play an instrument, get up there and show what you can do. I met a band, 16 years old. I think there's like 3 16-year-old and then 1 19. And oh my goodness, they play like no other. Mucho talento at a young age. And they're going to have an opportunity to express themselves and share their music with the community for the first time.
And that's what cures us.
Yes. La música, la cultura, the tradition. And it's going to be August the 8th, if I'm not wrong, at Weber Point. So people in the community listening, jot that down on your calendar. La Reunión is going to be August the 8th. And definitely I'm hoping that you will have a little table there to introduce on the deep end. That would be so cool. That would be cool, Leo.
Definitely. I'd love to be there just to promote it, and I welcome all discussions into my show. I think that's what the purpose of it is, to invite people and not call people out, but invite them in.
Yes.
And have them, share with us, their perspectives. Like one of the future topics that I'll be discussing is the way that we dream.
Yes.
And I think that's probably going to get a lot of people going because a lot of people love talking about their dreams.
Heck yeah.
So, and there's a lot to there's a lot of things to take out of that, and we'll get into that in the future. But I'm very excited to bring to my community just a different perspective on things and a deeper conversation about particular topics that I think my community will be interested in discussing and thinking about, so.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, I look forward to every single one of your shows. And
definitely.
Yeah. So if you can give me just a little heads up ahead of time, I will post it on Facebook so that way the community knows that your show is going to be covering this particular topic at so time and day, so that way everyone can tune in and check you out. Of course, everyone that's listening out there right now, you can find us on Facebook, the Voice of San Joaquin. You could also look up TVOSJ, which was our original call letters at one point. It's been replaced with TVOSJ, the Voice of San Joaquin. You could still find us, though, as KXVS or the Voice of Stockton. So anybody that's looking for us, and that's a way you'll be able to have access to all the shows. And I'd like for you to share them with your family and friends. Let them know that they have a community radio station right here off the Miracle Mile in Stockton, and they're welcome too to be part of the radio. So
definitely,
yeah. So what a pleasure to bring you on board, Leo Martinez. Thank you so much. Like I said, the show is on the deep end, and this will be every Friday between the hours of 6 and 7 in the evening. So tell a friend And any acknowledgments or shout-outs, Leo?
Yeah, I'd like to acknowledge. Well, first of all, I want to acknowledge the Graves family who just lost a loved one. I don't know if you heard. There
No.
was a shooting at the mall, and I was out there
Ah,
with some of the family members, supporting them, standing behind them, and and I just want to let them know that we're here for them if they want to heal. Like Fathers and Families in San Joaquin is here for them.
yes.
I myself, as an artist, as a community member, I'm here for the Graves family to support them. So I want to give a shout out to their whole family. I know my deepest condolences to them. I hope they're able to to move forward and heal with us. And I just want to let them know that we stand behind them and that we're right there through the whole process. If they ever want to reach out to our services, and I also want to give a shout out to my own agency and all the other agencies in Stockton who are doing the work for the community and are helping our people heal and learn and grow, and I just feel like a lot of the nonprofits don't get a lot of credit, but it's happening. It's been happening for years. We need to acknowledge it, and we need to stand up against gun violence and any injustices that we have in our communities, any suppression or any oppressions that we have. It's our duty as community members to stand behind those victims, to stand behind nonprofits and help them do the work. Because at the end of the day, people power always transcends,
Yes.
Always transcends barriers and always transcends pain. But we have to do it together.
Okay. I hear you. I had no idea. I didn't know that. So,
yeah.
Condolences to the family, to the familia.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, Leo. Well, thank you so much. If there's any way that individuals would like to get a hold of you, how can they, in case they have ideas of some topics that are curious about or would like to talk to you about, how do they contact you?
You can contact me at personal email. It's Leo at anotherofyourself.com. So it's Leo at anotherofyourself.com. So another of yourself is a whole sentence there. So
no spaces.
I don't know. I think I was trying to be cheeky when I created that email, but yeah, that's where you can find me. Write to me, ask me any questions, any discussions you want to, any ideas you want to throw my way. Feel free to.
Okay. Text me that information so I could include it with
okay, will do.
With your interview, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And like I said, look forward to your show on the Deep End every Friday between 6 and 7 p.m. Thank you, Leo Martinez. You take care and have a good evening, okay?
You too, Betty.
All right. Cuídate. Bye-bye. All right, you heard it right here. The Voice of San Joaquin, tvosj.org. Off the Miracle Mile in Stockton, California. And as we were speaking, oh my goodness, the topics that we covered, I love, and the topics that he's going to cover that I have notes that I took during our interview. Very interesting. Very interesting. So definitely tune in every Friday. Again, like I said, on the Deep End show with Leo Martinez. And for those of you that are curious and would like to be part of the radio station, all you have to do is look us up on thevoiceofsanjoaquin.org. Everything is right there. You can learn more of the radio. Please become a member. Be part of the radio station. We're here for you. And if you have a story that you would like to share with the community, that's all you have to do is give us a call or come on by for a visit. And we'll get you on the calendar. And next thing you know, you'll be on the airwaves, okay? Very important that we do that. This is your community radio station. We're a nonprofit radio, 501c3. So anybody that would like to make a donation, underwrite a program, or sponsor, we're looking for sponsors. We're looking for volunteers, especially for our fundraiser event coming up in August 8th at Weber Point, and it's the reunion. And again, everyone is invited to be part of it. Please support your community radio station. I'd like to give some shout outs and acknowledgments of some of our sponsors in the past. We're still giving shout outs today. What happens is when somebody sponsors us, especially the reunion, you get seen in, that is your logo, in all social media. And that is Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, even Snapchat. And I kid you not, we have like 200,000 listeners, viewers. So you know, okay? In case you have a business that you want to bring on board and be part of this community radio station, you could still do it today. We're looking, and we need more sponsors. A big shout out to PG&E, Together Building a Better California. Big shout out to State Farm, State Farm, State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. They were our top sponsor last year. And soon we're going to have them in for an interview as well. Okay, so I'd like to also acknowledge Stockton Monument, El Concilio, GRA Architect and Associates. Winners Bingo, Stockton, our top sponsor as well. Thank you so much, Deborah. Do appreciate you. Okay, Doug Vigil, Julie Damon Brown, Veronica Vargas, The Credit Solutions, Mr. D's, that's Pizza and Pub, Ramirez Ranch, Mountain Mike's Pizza, The Most Services, Leaders T-Shirts, Hotel Furniture Liquidators, and I could just go on and on and on. Please become a member. Be part of this community radio station. We are here for you. And also be part of our fundraising event that is so awesome because it's packed with tradition, packed with music, local bands. I've got Juan Escovedo committed to come back, and I also have the Torres Band, Mike Torres, beautiful family. They're committed as well. Latin Magic, who's playing tonight at the Crab Feed at the Stockton Civic Auditorium right now as I speak. They're gonna start playing at 8:30, but they're gonna go till 10 in the evening, so you don't want to miss that. A DJ comes in at 10 o'clock and on to 11. So this is happening again at the 5th annual Crab Feed through the Kelly's Angels Foundation, and it's happening at the Stockton Civic Auditorium, 525 North Center Street, Stockton, California. Ticket information, you could probably still give them a call. Call Jamie Guerrero at 209-406-9301, or just head on out there to the Civic Auditorium. I'm pretty sure they still have tickets. But definitely Latin Magic Band is playing this evening, so don't miss it. It's going to be awesome. Plus, you'll be helping out this good cause, okay? Kelly's Angels Foundation, helping out children and families in need, okay? So give me a call, 209-467-4455, right here at the radio station if you want to be part of the radio station. Community-inspired, member-supported, volunteer-powered. Remember, when a community has a voice, it has the power to shape its own destiny, and that's you. So give us a call sometime. Give us a visit. Drop off your posters, your flyers, whatever you have on an event or something that's coming up. All your nonprofits, your resources. Give us a call. We'll get you on air so that way you can promote you, okay? Thank you so much. This is Betty Ramirez on Latinos Like to Spanglish, also Sabor Latino. Take care and God bless.